Hiya frogs, dogs, and logs. Today I wanted to take a few moments to go over a template that I designed for people who are beginning to learn AutoCAD. Before I do that, I just want you to know that when you go to work for a design or architectural firm, they usually have somebody called a CAD manager working for them. Now, a CAD manager is a blend between a CAD drafter and kind of like an IT specialist. They have the ability to set up AutoCAD to be a bit more user-friendly for the people who need to use the program. So for instance, they design templates that are preloaded with all kinds of stuff from title blocks to layers to annotation sizes and a whole lot more. The idea basically is that you don't have to start from scratch and load all of these things every time that you use AutoCAD. Just use the correct template. AutoCAD templates, the ones that come with AutoCAD are pretty bare, so they have a lot of flexibility for any profession, but when you're in a profession, you need something that's set up to work with you. So I'm not a CAD manager, but I did design a basic template nonetheless to help make the learning process a little bit easier and less time consuming for you guys. So in this video series, you're going to see that we are going to use this template, but I will also show you how to set up your own template as the video series progresses. So for now, just know that this video is going to show you some of the main features of this template I designed so that you're aware of what it can do for you. So first, we need to open that template, and it's just a simple drawing file. So to open an existing file, we go up to the big red A, and I click open, and then I click drawing because that's what I'm trying to open. So this window pops open, and you can see that I have saved this particular file so that it's already ready to go. If you need to find the file that you saved to your computer, just use the scroll bar and kind of maneuver through. There's lots of files and all kinds of things for you to look for. You got to remember where you save your files, so go ahead and look for it. And then you can come here, click on it, and then click open. As you can see, this looks really similar to a new drawing that we did in a previous video. You see the ribbon, the big red A, model space, paper space tabs, everything. Now the first thing I want to show you, which is the one thing that kind of pops out a little bit, is this little smart door that you see in the corner. I sort of stole this from somebody that I work with, so shh, don't tell anybody. Alright, if you click once on the door, you'll see that the object, well, if you hover, it kind of ghosts it. But once you click on it, it turns blue, and then there's these like hidden arrows that pop up. Ooh, how mysterious is that? Well, this arrow on the right-hand side allows you to open or close the door as needed. So here's it open at 45 degrees, here's it open at 60 degrees, here is it open at 90 degrees. 90 degrees is the default degree that we have all doors open to while you're in AutoCAD. But every once in a while, you might want to show one partially open, like a closet door or something that's not like a main egress door. So then you would choose like 45 degrees perhaps. But again, for the most part, keep it on 90. This other arrow right down here, which is on the swing side of the door, that's what this arc is doing right here, is showing the swing of the door. So as it shuts, you can kind of see the path that the end of the door takes. Anywho, this helps you to resize the door easily. So ADA standard doors are 3 feet in size. But you can easily resize, and these are all the pre-chosen sizes that this particular smart door has. Now, if you need a different size, you are probably going to either have to find another smart door or draw one yourself. Now, the arrows located in the center part right here, those are going to help you flip the door so that you can position it any place that you want it to be. So that makes it pretty handy to just kind of flip it and then place it. So that's the smart door. The next thing I would like to show you are the title blocks that I created. So remember that our goal is to draw objects here in model space and then set them up on a construction sheet with a title block so that we can go ahead and print them. So it's easier to draw in full scale here in model space so that we can scale it down and put it inside of a title block. So down here in the paper space area, we have the model space, which is what you see here. We have an 8 by 11 template, and we also have an 11 by 17 template. So just to quickly go through, here's the template for your title block. Remember that the gray area is just a background. The white area is representing the sheet of paper that you're eventually going to print, like the size of the paper. So you can actually draw lines and everything on this title block. And so I've already gone ahead and drawn a very simple one for you. It definitely needs to be updated, so make sure that when you go to start working on projects or assignments that you're updating this information. So you put your logo here. What's your last name? If you're in my classes, you would put NAU, ID 230, and then fall semester of whatever year it is that you're in. And then we come down here to this part and you have to put in your client information because you need to know what is this project that you're drawing over here. What's the due date of the project? What's the name of this particular sheet? So that's really important for the organization of the entire CD set. You need to know what the names of each individual sheets are because each individual sheet communicates different things. So for instance, if I had a construction plan located right here inside of this box, that's exactly what I would name this, construction plan. And then every sheet gets a unique number with it, and they always start with A. This is a drawing title so that you understand what it is that you drew up here. And then of course, if it's a floor plan or plan view of anything, there's always got to be a north arrow associated with it. So again, I just drew something pretty basic. If we go to 11 by 17, you're kind of going to see the same thing. The gray is the background, the white represents an 11 by 17 sized piece of paper. Believe it or not, these are the same size fonts. It's just funny how a size can make something look smaller. But it's the same size as what it was on the 8 by 11. So again, you got to fill all this information out. Now this thing that you see in the center, I didn't go over that in the 8 by 11. This is called a viewport. And this is like a smart window. It allows us to see and scale what you drew here. So it's definitely something we want to keep. And I'm going to go into much more detail about what that does and how it works. But for now, I just want you to know that this is the title blocks I designed for you. You will notice that the title block is drawn with colored lines, and this is not an accident. The title block is drawn using what we call layers. So instead of just drawing lines to create floor plans and elevations, AutoCAD is set up for us to use layers, or in an easier term to understand, kind of like smart lines. There's a lot of smart happening in AutoCAD, but you're going to find out that it doesn't feel like it's smart, but there's a lot of smart. Anywho, just like a smartphone takes the features of a basic cell phone and allows you to do more things with it, layers takes the basic features of lines and allows us to do more things with it. Now you can find the layers manager up in the home tab of the ribbon and almost dead center on the ribbon. So it's layer properties. And you can see if you hover your mouse over it, it kind of tells you a little bit about what it is. It manages layers and layer properties. So let's click on that command button. And you'll see this panel pops up. They call it panel, they call it palette, whatever. It's this thing that pops up, right? And you can move it around as you feel like you need to. Now this is all the layers that I have created for you to draw with. So every time that you draw a wall, you should be using the A wall layer. And you can see how, the color yellow is associated with it. There's printing, you can lock the layer, you can hide the layer. There's a lot of different things that you can do with layers. Now colors, for example, can be used by the program to create different line weights to print with. And as you know, walls should be much darker than things like furniture. So it creates a visual hierarchy of heaviness of objects. The darker the line, the heavier the object when they print black and white. So colors help us humans draw with line weights. Now walls are yellow, but we use something called a plot style to assign line weights to colors. Don't worry, I'm gonna go over it. Just for now, know that all of these colors that you see are associated to a particular line weight, so heaviness or thinness of a line. You can also see that we name the layers the same name as the objects that we draw, like wall, door, annotation, shelf, furniture, all of this kind of stuff that you can see. These smart lines have smart properties so that we can hide them or show them as we want to, depending on what we are drawing. So for instance, if you're drawing a door, definitely you want to go and find the A door right there and start drawing with that particular layer assigned to your line work. Now, doors are often hidden in reflected ceiling plans, so by assigning the A door layer to the doors that you draw in model space, we can actually temporarily hide them as we need to without actually erasing them. Again, I'm going to go over all this information for you. Just know that by naming them and then actually using them according to the objects that we're drawing, it allows us to control what is seen and what is not seen on our drawings. Many of these names are abbreviated or they use more technical names. So windows, for instance, in the architectural world is actually called glazing. So you're not going to see an A window, but you will see an A glaze. So as you progress through this video series, I'm going to teach you some of these name changes that aren't so obvious to you, so that you can kind of get some of the terminology that's needed when you're doing CAD drafting and working with architects. Layers also allow us to assign line types to certain objects as part of the typical visual communication standards for construction documents. So for instance, upper cabinets, where are you? Those are called A case lower and A case upper. So right here, and case stands for casework, which is another fancy term for cabinetry. So there's always lower cabinets in a kitchen and there's always upper cabinets in a kitchen. And if we scroll over, you will see that under line type, you see that there's something called dashed. So anytime that you see an upper cabinet on a floor plan view, those cabinets are dashed. And that's just part of our communication to say, hey, these are upper cabinets. Now you're noticing too that there's the letter A in front of a lot of these, but as we move down, there's an E, there's a couple I's, and there's also a couple T's. That letter in front stands for architectural. So those are always the ones that like architects would be using, anything that has to do directly with the building itself. The letter I stands for interior, so that's why furniture and finishes are kind of associated with an I in front of it. And then E layers are for when we go ahead and draw elevations. So again, E1 is the darkest, E8 is the lightest in terms of line weight, so that we can draw with that, and then you can see all the colors that we can use. And then T's are for title blocks. So those have to do with what's happening in these 8x11 and 11x17 tabs. They're specific to title blocks. So again, you want to make sure that you're using the correct layer for the correct object or the correct place, and this video series is going to teach you how to do that. Just know that there's something called layers. This is the layers property, and this is where we go to manage them. I'm just going to hit the X right here in the top left hand corner of this little panel, and we are back to here. Now the second part of this template that I like to show you is text. And in AutoCAD, and what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to go back to model space. And in AutoCAD, we scale drawings a lot. Scaling is just a technical term for zooming in on a drawing at a specific size. Scaling allows us to fit a drawing onto a sheet of paper in a way that can be measurable by a ruler. So in interior design, we use architectural scales, so things like 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. Those are things that you're going to hear quite often. It means that when you measure 1/4 inch on a piece of paper with a ruler, it's actually representing 1 foot being built out in the real world. Construction document sets are all about communication. So we have a lot of lines, but we also have a lot of text. Things like room names, dimensions, callouts, they get scaled along with the drawings. But one of the big rules in construction documents, are you guys hearing me? Big rule is to try and make the annotation look the same size throughout each sheet, no matter what scale the drawing is zoomed in at. So we have to use different size text in model space to help keep the text consistently sized in paper space. So to find text, if you go up to the ribbon and find the Annotate tab, and then you're looking at the text panel. You should see a scroll bar at the top of this panel that has like a little ABC and a check mark, and then the words standard right next to it. If you go ahead and click on that, you will see that I have created a lot of text sizes for you. So how this works is whatever your paper space drawing is scaled to, you will choose the same size text. So for instance, most floor plans are scaled at 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. So if you're going to add room names or any kind of notes to your floor plan, you should use the 1/8 text size. Elevations are typically scaled at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. So for any notes or anything that you want to add text-wise to your elevation, you should use the 1/4 inch, which is right below. Again, all of these text sizes have been pre-calculated by yours truly, so that if you have a 1/8 inch scale drawing next to a 1/4 inch scale drawing on the same sheet, the text in both drawings are going to appear the same size, even though in model space they are not the same size. It's all about printing in the end, baby. We want the text to print the same size. I know it's confusing. You're doing great so far, guys. Just stay with me. I'm going to show you eventually what that means and why we do it, okay? I've done the same thing for dimensions as well as leaders or callouts. So those are the things that have a little arrow attached, like text with an arrow. So if I click off of that and then right next to the text panel, whoop, how did I do that? I don't know. We'll put it right back where it was. There we go. You know, things happen when you're working in AutoCAD. Alright, so here's the dimension. So again, where it says standard, you're going to see the same names. So if you're dimensioning something that's in 1/8 scale or will be printed at 1/8 scale, you're going to find 1/8. Where are you, 1/8? There you are. If you're printing elevations at 1/4 inch, you're going to find 1/4. It will all make sense when you see how this works eventually. So over here in the leaders panel, it's this exact same thing. If you have an elevation that's being printed at 1/4, you should definitely use the 1/4 default text right here. The main points I want you to remember about this section is that when adding text, dimensions, or callouts, you should choose the correct size text for the scale that your drawing will be. Your text will scale with your drawings, but our goal is to make them appear to be the same size when your construction document sheets are printed. So we must use different text sizes in model space to make them appear to be the same size in paper space. Now, that's a lot of information in a short amount of time, guys. I'm sure you're confused. It's very normal, and it's okay to be that way. We will need to apply these techniques before you actually understand them and how they work. But this video was designed to show you exactly what the features are of this template and where to find them. So to summarize, we talked about where to find the smart door, the title blocks, the text sizes, dimension, and leader callout sizes. Other videos are going to teach you how to actually apply them.